WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner, Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello, hello, hello. It's Monday at 4 o'clock, so it must be the Community Bell Show. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I know it's busy, busy, busy. It's election time, and everybody is all over the place trying to make sure that we get the vote out because it's important. You are important. If you don't vote, don't ask me anything. Don't say anything to me about nothing. Don't tell me what you think. Don't tell me what you're mad about. Don't tell me what you don't like. None of that. If you didn't vote, I don't want to hear it because obviously you didn't care enough to vote. So you shouldn't care enough and be trying to talk to somebody about what they didn't do and what they should do and on and on and on and on because you didn't vote. So you don't get a voice there. So get yourselves out to the polls and vote. Now, tomorrow is election day, all day long, from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. It's election day. So it's supposed to rain. Now, I know how you feel because somebody just went to the beauty shop on Saturday and got the hair all done up pretty like. That's okay. You remember those old fashioned rain scarves, plastic rain scarves? I've got one in my car. And if you don't have a plastic rain scarf, put a hat on or get a plastic bag and put something on your head and go vote. You can do this. Umbrellas work too. So, whatever you need to do to get to the polls, you need to do that. So, polls open at 7 o'clock in the morning everywhere. There is a poll near you. I don't care where you are in the state of Michigan. There is a poll near you. So you need to find out where it is. If you have not registered and it's election day, you can still vote. You can still vote. Let me tell you now, all you need to do is to show up, just show up, show up, show up. Bring with you your driver's license. If you don't drive, bring your state ID. If you don't have that, if you got a bank account, I know that's saying a lot to some people, but if you don't have a bank account, bring a utility bill. Now I know somebody's got a bill from Detroit Edison or the water department or one of those places. Consumers, if you're in Southfield, bring your utility bill. You got a paycheck. It's got your a name on it, address on it. Bring it. Bring anything that you have that has your name and address on it that can identify you so that you can register to vote. Please do that. Please do that. Please do that. You got to do this. You got to vote. You got to vote. Before I finish my tirade about you voting, I'll go back to that in a minute. I've got some guests on, and I'm going to let my guests come on because, they're busy. People are busy. They are knocking on doors or making phone calls or doing all of that to make sure we get you to the polls. So who do we have? Commissioner Alicia Bell, are you there? You're not there. Sheriff, are you there? Sheriff Washington? No, you're not there either. Okay. Rasha? Rasha, how are you? Now, I bet a lot of you have not even heard from Rasha. I need you to know that Rasha is a candidate for the Wayne State University Board of Trustees. Rasha is a graduate of Wayne State University, and I'm going to let Rasha tell her story. Rasha, I was about to tell your story. I'm going to let you tell your story. Hi, Rasha. Welcome to the Community Bell Show. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Edna. I had such a great time chatting with you on Saturday. It was an honor to
I know you're on your way to a meeting.
I am. I'm in the car, but I thought I'd take an opportunity. I'm in the parking lot now before hopping into the meeting. So I just wanted to chat with you, let you know what I'm doing. My name is Rasha Dimashki, and I'm running for a seat on the Board of Governors of Wayne State University, my alma mater. I graduated from Wayne State.
Me too. I'm a graduate of Wayne State. Yay, Wayne State.
Yeah, great school. Yes. Yes. And I live in Port Huron, as I told you, Edna, so I don't live very close, but this is a state election. So anyone in Michigan can vote for the Board of Governors at Wayne. And I care a great deal about education. I sat on the Port Huron Area School Board. I was a member of the Michigan Civil Rights Commission for 8 years. I've done a lot of things in the community because I believe that we need to strengthen our education, provide more opportunities, and of course, keep our tuition affordable and provide the next generation with pathways to a gainful employment because we want to keep them in Michigan.
Yes, we need to keep them in Michigan and we need them to stay in Detroit, many of them, and go to Wayne State University. It's a wonderful place. When I started Wayne State in 1962, it's probably 3 times the size of it when I was there.
Oh, yeah.
Great now. It's a school where you can take up any subject you want to take up.
It's a great school, but of course, there's always room for improvement. I'd like to be a voice for the students who come from different areas, and to provide every student at Wayne with those opportunities that they seek. I know, the Wayne State administration does a great job, but we need to continue to attract the best faculty, because that's what makes education even better. And again, we talked about how Detroit is seeing a revival. So it's important that we provide the students with an opportunity to get an internship and later on a job in those companies in Detroit and around Detroit, because we want
Absolutely.
them to stay right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let me ask you a question, Rasha. The School of Education, I'm kind of partial to education. As you know, I too served on the school board here in Detroit. Um, the School of Education at Wayne State University, how do they rank among national schools and other schools in terms of their providing education?
Well, Edna, you stumped me. I'm not really sure. That's something I'll have to go back and research. But I know that Wayne State has risen up in the ranking as a whole university. So it's really they're making small steps
Okay.
toward, gaining more more recognition. But that, there's always more things that we can do.
Great.
And yeah, the
And
School
I
of Education is
you're
excellent.
gonna look
So
at
many teachers have graduated from that school and have
yes.
become great educators all through Michigan and out of Michigan. Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm just, I'm really partial to, of course, education and teachers and making sure that we have the best we can for our young people. So I appreciate your taking the time. I know you're on your way to another meeting. I won't hold you, but I just wanted our guests to hear from you. Rasha is on the ballot for Wayne State University Board of Governors. Vote the whole ballot. Make sure you find her name.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she is a Democrat for that seat.
I am running as a Democrat.
I
So under
want you to
Wayne
know
State
that.
University, you will
Yes.
find my name, Rasha Dimashki. I would be honored to get your support. Thank you so much. And thank you
Oh,
so much for the opportunity, Edna. I mean,
absolutely.
again, it was an honor meeting you.
I'm so glad you were able to join us, Rasha. Congratulations. I'm going to congratulate you early because I know you're going to win. You go ahead, go to your next meeting because I know it's busy this time. You're running all over the place. So be safe out there. Go for it. Go Wayne State.
Thank you, Edna. Yes, go Wayne State.
Take
Yes.
care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Well, now I understand one of my favorite people is on the line now, and you will hear lots of folks today, everybody, because everybody's busy, so they don't have a lot of time. They're going to give us a few minutes of the time out of their busy schedules. The day before election is just one of the busiest days you've ever seen, besides election day. We have with us my good friend, Mr. Hester Wheeler.
Yes.
This,
Good afternoon, Edna Bell. How do you do?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am quite well. Thank you so very much for having me. And just like the sister just said, Rasha, was that
Rasha,
her name?
Rasha, uh-huh.
It is my honor to know you also.
Oh
So
my goodness, I love
you
it.
you
But
you have an endless trail of allies. Keep
oh
it
my,
up.
this is a wonderful thing. Now,
Yeah.
as you know, Hester has been on with us before. He's a former Assistant Secretary of State for the state of Michigan. I think now he's serving as a special advisor to the Secretary of State. But he has a wealth of knowledge as it relates to elections, what goes on in elections, what
Yeah.
you need to do as a person who's going to vote tomorrow. And you all are going to vote tomorrow. I just know you are. Tell us what's going on with the Secretary of State and all the voting things going on, Hester.
Yep. So first of all, let me just tell you, I like to describe myself as a voting rights champion. I've lived my commitment to civil rights and social justice for most of my adult life. In fact, I started as a teenager. I believe in the power of protest. I know that things can change. You and I both have lived long enough to know that we've already had some impacts. We've made a difference. We've changed this world.
Yes.
I am so committed to protest and the protection of rights. I literally carry a picket sign in my trunk. I'm always looking for a
You
protest.
never know.
But let me tell you, I had the unique, so I consider myself a voting rights champion. August 1, I began my transition into full-time self-employment. So I only work for me from this day forward.
Isn't it a wonderful thing?
Oh my God.
That's
Oh my God.
It's so
That-
wonderful.
I
Yeah.
should have paid attention to you long before now, because there's something called an uncommon freedom.
Mhm.
And self-employment is an uncommon freedom.
Yes.
So applause. But so I had the opportunity to, I served as executive director with the NAACP Detroit branch for about 12 years.
Yes.
And every year we put this big event together called the Fight for Freedom Fund Dinner. We would bring 8,000 to 10,000 people together. And we would plan, meet, process, map, checklist. Who's doing this? Did that happen? Are we on time? Is this coming together? Where's our run of show? Who's our invocator? Who's our benedictor? Are we going to start on time? I always started before 5 o'clock, whether people were in their seats. And I wanted to be at benediction at 7:30. Typically, it would be closer to 8 o'clock. But my point is this. At some point within the last 7 days or so before the big event, I would openly declare at a big staff meeting and with all of our volunteers that we're out of time. We're out of time. No more planning.
Exactly.
It's showtime.
Go do now.
Go do now. Don't talk about it. No more planning. No new ideas. Whatever we've not talked about, we're not talking about at this point. That's where we are now in this election cycle. We're out of time. Go do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. That's all we've got. We've got about 30 more hours before the polls close. It's 4 o'clock here. Polls close at 8 o'clock tomorrow. 24 hours from now, we'll be at 4 o'clock on election day. We have until 8 p.m. It's showtime. It's showtime. So I am saying it is my hope and prayer that if you're not committed to a volunteer experience or a paid poll worker experience, that at the very least you deepen your commitment to your own family. Somebody in your family is not prepared unless you call them. Right. And I've been harassing my nieces and nephews, and I even have grandchildren who are old enough to vote. And I'm saying, text me a copy of your ballot. Text me a copy of the voting line.
Or
Let me know.
I voted sticker.
Or show me something. But I'm threatening them in a harsh way. I could go to jail because I say, you're not getting out of here alive. If you let this election day come and go, you got a price to pay with me.
That's right.
And the reason I particularly start off by putting emphasis on this as it relates to young people is because we have a secret weapon in young people.
Yes.
There are some 1.6 million young people in Michigan between the ages of 18 and 29 who are eligible to vote. That's important. Of that, 1.3 million are already registered. But guess what, Edna Bell? Only about 300,000 actually vote. We got 1 million young people
out there.
We've got 1 million young people between the ages of 18 and 29, so who are not going to vote unless you nudge them in a special way. So I wanted to start there, put the emphasis on young people at this point. Call them, text them, leave them voice messages, and press them into service. I am so encouraged. I think you probably have the same information. Nearly 150,000 Detroiters have already voted.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
Isn't this awesome?
Isn't that amazing? If Detroit votes, we win.
We always provide the margin of victory.
Right. That's right.
And let me say this, Black folk, sometimes we just don't know what we don't know about ourselves. There are some 900,000 plus registered African-American voters in the state of Michigan. Whites in Michigan are fairly evenly divided between Democrats and Republicans and independents. And it's the African-American vote that provides the margin of victory for every statewide election. Yes. If a Democrat wins statewide, it's because African-American voter turnout increased. I think we're on track for at least 300,000, which was close to the number we got with Mr. Obama. I'd love to see 500,000 vote.
Wouldn't that be? Well, we were at 50.1 with Obama.
You got it. 50. I think we can get to 55 or 60. I want to say
55 or 60.
Yeah.
Game over.
It's a game over. That's exactly right. So
Detroit Lions yesterday. Game over.
game. Oh, wasn't? Did you watch that game, Edna Bell?
You know, and I don't even watch football, but I watch the Lions.
Well, you.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I'm
So
Ross St. Brown. I love that young man.
yeah, you are like me. We're
Oh.
both what they call fair weather fans.
That's me.
Like when we're winning, then we zoom in.
Yes.
And I am such a fair weather fan. I'm not really excited unless we got a 10-point lead. Otherwise, I'm too anxious. But at any rate, that was a great game. And that's exactly, I'd like to say this tomorrow night, even though let me caution our listeners, Edna Bell, that we're really not likely to know the exact results at 8:01.
Probably not until Wednesday morning.
Yeah, Wednesday and maybe even Thursday or Friday. 4 years ago, it was Saturday before confirmation came in.
Exactly.
You know, we had some early indication based on how numbers were trending and how polling was trending, and there is a science to tracking. You know, you can sample, you can call a few strategic places and get a sense. And very often that tracking comes out, well, based on what happened in Rochester Hills, what happened in Northwest Detroit, what happened in East Lansing. These are the patterns that we see. You can make some predictions. I'm so encouraged. I really want to be hyper positive, but I'm nervous because of what we saw in 2016.
I know. I'm nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm still hyper positive. I was listening to one of the news programs this morning, I guess, and they talked about the Iowa poll. And the Iowa.
There you go. I heard about that yesterday.
And that is, they say, the creme de la creme of all the polls. She's been right every time, and she's got Madam President Harris up by 4.
That's awesome. And let me tell you this, you know, I think you and I agree. A landslide victory is typically measured by 10 points or more, right? Mm-hmm. So if we win 55-45, that's a landslide. But I'll take a half of a landslide.
I'll take a half a landslide. And I know I shouldn't tell folks this, but I think it's going to be a landslide. That's
my gut also, Edna Bell. I've been scared to say it.
I was afraid to say it, but I really believe it. But I want people to know we only get this landslide if you vote.
You got to vote. And so what I'm saying, yesterday was the last day for early voting sites. Yes. So now all of the activity has to either go to your clerks. You got until 5 o'clock today to get to your clerk's office if you need to get registered or vote on site, or you got to go to your poll tomorrow. And I hate to scare people, but I do want to shake people into consciousness. Don't be intimidated. Exactly. Now we've already seen some early signs of some mean-spirited people patrolling our neighborhoods, and we're hearing threats that we're hearing threats that they're going to be here.
Well, and I hate to say this, but bring it on.
Go ahead, sister. You and I'm from Linwood. That's the exact same thing. I've been
in the projects on 8 Mile Road.
I'm saying we're not afraid of you. So I've been talking with Daniel Baxter over at the Detroit City Clerk's office. Janice Winfrey, our Detroit City Clerk, has been a superstar. She is working overdrive, and they are making things happen. But I do want people to be reminded, first of all, if you feel intimidated, the first number you dial is 911. That's it. It's easy as that.
And do know that we will have poll watchers at the polls.
And we got
by themselves. So if somebody is there and intimidate, just find one of the poll watchers and we'll handle that.
And I've been working with 40 or 50 different churches and faith and religious leaders. They've got a program called Faith United to Save Democracy. Reverend Bland over at Liberty on Greenfield and 6th. And they've got about 80, and Reverend Perkins, formerly of Greater
Christ. Over East Side on Mac.
And those some bad boys, and it's a whole bunch. Tellis Chapman and obviously Bishop Sheard, which was home to Kamala yesterday. Bishop Sheard, you know you're a bad man.
How about that? That's
Marcus Ways, all my favorite preachers. But at any rate, they've got a program called Lawyers and Collars. So that's where the ministers will be on site, roving across the city with their collars, and then there'll be a group of roving lawyers. I'll be in and out of the NAACP office most of the day. For your listening audience, if you are able, feel free to drop over. We're right on the corner of 2nd and Seward. We start at 6 in the morning. We'll be there at least until the polls close. We got high school students who are off tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll be making thousands of phone calls, reminding people to go to the poll. That's what you do from now to poll closing.
I started that last week, making phone calls.
My wife, as you well know, Jennifer. Yes. Jennifer is a part of a coalition, and I'm sure you are too. Mm-hmm. It's Black Women for Kamala.
Yes, yes.
She was on a call that started at 8:00 last night. Were you on that one? I think it was thousands, and
there were thousands of women on across.
Thousands of Black women, and there was a sprinkle of white women and a sprinkle of white men, and everybody was pledging their support and their loyalty. And it was so very awesome to just feel the energy. People are so hyped, people are so encouraged, and people are doing what they need to do. So same-day voter registration is what matters as of right now.
Right now.
If you can get to the clerk's office before 5, you can still register. If not, you have until 8:00 tomorrow night to register and vote on the spot. If you have a driver's license or state ID, if you don't, you can get that on the spot. And there's a lot of different ways that you
have a piece of a utility bill with your name and address.
That's exactly right.
You have your school ID from a university.
That's sufficient. Yes, ma'am.
With your name and address on it, you can.
That's sufficient.
You can register to vote on the spot.
On the spot.
On that.
And let me just repeat what I said earlier. Don't be intimidated. 911 is your first call. The NAACP, we've got a hotline. 313-664-2424, 664-2424. Okay. If you got a question about the location, 664-2424, 664-2424. Call us. We're there all day manning the phones. If you need to know where your location is, we will help you get there. The one other number, it's a national hotline. You've heard it probably 100 times. 1-866-OUR-VOTE. 1-866-OUR-VOTE. We'll have plenty of refreshments. We'll have lawyers available. We're working closely with the police department. I am saying don't be intimidated, Detroit. Don't be intimidated, Michigan. Don't be intimidated if you happen to be a Democrat. And I think this comes down to really good versus evil, Edna.
It really does.
Yeah.
Really.
I think it comes down to good versus evil. And I've lived long enough to know that there are way more good people than bad people.
See, that's it.
Yeah, way more good people than bad people. And some people they appear to be more committed to privilege and the perks of power than they are righteousness. Yeah. But at the end of the day, even those folk don't want their children going to school afraid. So when you keep spurring out all of this violence and all of this anger and all of this hatred, you're really violating your children. You're violating the next generation. Young people ought not be afraid of mass shootings. You don't need an evil person at the highest office in the world.
Exactly.
And I think when I was there with you a few weeks ago, I've been celebrating spending time with you. I posted it in a few places.
I saw that.
Did you see it? Well, I
did.
But when we were there, I don't know if I talked about this Kairos moment. You remember me referencing?
You're talking about that. You can talk about it again.
Well, Kairos is when the right person at the right time and divine providence all converge. Mm-hmm. Rosa Parks was a Kairos moment. She was the right person at the right time. She almost single-handedly, because of her selflessness, broke the back of segregation in public transportation.
Yes.
Kairos, divine providence. Nelson Mandela was a Kairos moment because of his selflessness. He gave 27 years. He was the right person at the right time, and God's divine providence all came together. And he almost single-handedly broke the back of apartheid in South Africa. Mm-hmm. In 1972, Shirley Chisholm created this Kairos moment because she was so bold. She was unbought and unbossed. She showed the way for Black people and for Black women in particular to celebrate moments like this because of her selflessness. You know what kind of racism and harassment she had to be subject to to dare openly profess her willingness to offer herself up to be president of the United States, and she was the first Black woman ever to serve in the United States Congress. She was bold, unabashedly bold, and it created a Kairos moment. And the reason I say all of that, it's a precursor to what I need to say now. 4 months ago.
I know.
Go ahead.
But I need to, before we leave Shirley Chisholm, and you may not know this, back in, oh God, almost 40 years ago, help me, Jesus. Back in the early, in 1980s,
yes,
as a member of the Detroit School Board,
yes,
we had a school board conference in New York City.
Ooh, wait.
Chisholm was our speaker.
Ooh, wait.
But
look at you.
Get this. Guess who introduced her?
Not Edna Bell.
The Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony.
Look at you, Edna Bell.
Before he was even a Reverend Dr.
Before he was even Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, he did I'm going to have to remind him about that.
Introduced Shirley Chisholm. And Mary Blackman and I were sitting at that table just simply in awe.
What a moment in history. What a moment in history. So
group. Yes.
So the point is Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks, and Shirley Chisholm are good examples of a Kairos moment. Yes. 4 months ago, we were so afraid. We were so uncertain.
Yes.
And we knew that.
Actually, we were real scared.
We were shaking in our boots.
Yes.
But and then God, through his divine providence, intervened and said, I got a ram in the bush.
Yeah. Let me show you this.
Let me show you this.
Let me show you this.
And it flipped the entire script. We went from fear to joy.
Yes.
We went from uncertainty to enthusiasm. Kamala Harris is a Kairos moment.
Exactly.
And so, but we all have a responsibility. While she's being selfless, she's subjecting herself to all of this. We have to deliver for this sister. And this is our moment to do what we do.
We've got to do what we do, and we've got to do it big.
We got to do it big. So we've got the voters across the African American experience. We've got the opportunity. We've got new voting rights. We've got drop boxes. We've got same-day voter registration. We've got no excuse that's over now. No excuse absentee voting. But early voting has already made a tremendous impact. And so I'm just encouraging people to do more of what you do best. And for those of you who are on the fence, if we've never told you how much we need you, we're telling you now we need you.
I'm going to say something that one of the young men, Dwight Harris, who's been on the show before, something Dwight said when he was on the show. Who do you want to leave the baby with?
Who
do you want to leave your baby with?
I like that.
Him or her?
Yeah. Isn't that a heck of a way to think about it?
Yes.
That's a heck of a way to think about it.
Yes. Who would you leave the baby with? Him.
That's awesome. Awesome.
That's all you need to know.
I'm going to take a screenshot of you and me again.
Okay.
And I'm going to post this one this evening.
Oh, wonderful.
You are so awesome, Edna Bell. But Edna, I know you get this. You live your spirituality. You live your faith. Your light shines so bright. It shines through. It radiates. You are the perfect example of what I try and help people to understand, that you've just got to walk in faith. You got to keep hope alive. You got to do what you do. And you never know who you touch or who's listening or who's really hearing you. But what I do know in my social scientist research-based advocacy commitment, I do know that every effort matters.
Absolutely.
Every effort matters. I don't care if you're talking to 4 people or 40 people or 400 people or 4,000 people. Every effort matters. It adds up.
Everyone. And we just have to move on. We've got to keep it going. We don't have long to go. We can do this.
So we have an extra responsibility to keep hope alive. Young people, you're our secret weapon. All of you who are uncertain, if you send me an email at hesterwheeler.com, I will send you a slate. I'll tell you exactly who to vote for. If you're uncertain,
we'll tell you. And by the way, flip the ballot over, everybody, because you've got to vote for the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Tyra Harris Bolden.
Yes. And we've got if you live in the city of Detroit, we got a school board proposal. I'm yes on proposal S.
Yes.
And we've
Yes.
got a lot of people running for judge. You've got to go to each of those positions one by one. I
Yes.
love Adrienne Scruggs personally.
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate who she is and what she stands for. And I know,
Adrian was at our church on yesterday. So yes.
what she see.
Yes.
She was at New Prospect.
Yes. He was at New Prospect.
She'd have been to the mountaintop then if she made it over on at the New Prospect. She's a brilliant sister. She knows how her bread gets buttered.
Absolutely.
You can't win in this city unless you do that church corridor. Everything between 6 and 8 from Woodwood to Telegraph. You got to get them.
You got to get them all. Got to get them all. Now, what's your email address again?
Hester Wheeler. My name is right there on the screen. It's spelled properly. HeasterWheeler at gmail.com.
Okay.
Hester Wheeler at gmail.com. And if you send me an email in exchange, I'll send you back a slate.
There you go.
Yep. And any other questions you want, if you want to know why people don't vote, and let me just touch this real fast. I know we're out of time, but people have transportation issues. People don't really know where their polling places are. People are uncomfortable with the ballot. We've been bombarded with all this advertisement, and we don't really know what's fake news and what's the truth.
Exactly.
So that's why trusted messengers, the Edna Bells of the world, Hester Wheelers, those of us who live this commitment, that's why our voice is even more important. That's why preachers and faith leaders and key community leaders are so important.
Yes.
Look at Edna Bell. Look at your technology. You've already put my oh my God. Let me take a picture of that one too. You are bad, sister girl. Your stock just keeps going up. That is awesome. Go right ahead. Tell your producer, y'all bad. I love
bad.
working.
WVTC Radio. Bad.
Y'all bad. So however, whenever, Edna, don't hesitate to call upon me. But I think we shared some of the basic things. Detroit is voting.
Yes.
We've got another 28 hours, 27 hours or so from now to 8 p.m. tomorrow. There are victory celebrations all over the place.
Yes.
And the one thing, I know Negroes like to party, but let me just say this. Don't fake the funk. Don't be calling me, asking me where the victory celebration
and you didn't vote.
When you ain't did nothing.
That's right. Ain't done a thing to party about. You have done it.
And don't you dare head to no victory celebration before 8 o'clock. Don't be down there at 6 o'clock, 6:30, talking about where the chicken wings. Yeah, where's the food? You know, because a lot of us gonna be at the polls. You should be making phone calls up until 7:45, 7:50, 7:55.
Taking people to the polls, all of that.
Whatever it takes.
Now tonight, Vice President candidate Walsh is going to be here in Detroit, down at Hart Plaza.
That's what he's got the Detroit Youth Choir and John Bon Jovi.
Yes, John Bon Jovi, Detroit. Yes, so that
is awesome stuff, y'all. That's awesome stuff. And that's an example of what I was saying. Every effort matters.
Yes.
Every effort matters. Don't you dare think that it ain't gonna have impact. It will have impact, and he's very strategic. Bon Jovi happens to be a white musical artist. Detroit Youth, you know who they are. Those are African American young people. That's the target. We want black folk, red and yellow, black and white. We are all precious in God's sight.
There you go. There you go. I love it. Hester, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You are awesome.
Have you on to talk about what is at stake here and that we can do it. As a matter of fact, from God's words to our ears, it's done.
It's done. Let it be so. Thank you so much, Edna Bell. Keep it up.
I'll see you somewhere tomorrow.
I'll be looking for you. Let's keep hope alive. Thank you for having me.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Alicia still there? I'm just so happy that we were at a chance to have Mr. Hester Wheeler on to talk about the election. I'm telling you, there's so much going on. There's so much going on. And it's not a hard thing to do. It's not a hard thing to do. Just make your plan. Just make your plan and get your souls to the polls. Make sure that you vote. Make sure that you vote. And just because you were in jail doesn't matter. You're out now. You can vote. On probation, that's okay. You can vote. You can vote. So all of those of you who think that, oh, I've got a little bad stuff in my background, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what is in your background. We all got some stuff in our background. So don't let that stop you from going to the polls. Your voice is important. What you think is important. What you want to do with your life and the lives of your family and your children, your relatives is important. The life of your mother is important because all of us mothers are getting just a little bit older every day. And we want to make sure that we still have some Medicare, that kind of takes care of us. We want to make sure that healthcare thing is so important. So we want to make sure that it's still there. There are those who don't believe that we ought to have that. They want to cut that so they can give some of the richer folks some extra money that they don't need. So it's important that you decide for yourself. You decide for yourself what's going to happen. Now we have a young lady who is the chairperson of the Wayne County Commission, Madam Alicia Bell. Are you there, Madam Bell? She
Good
is.
evening. How are you?
I'm great. All dark. Yeah, we see your outline.
Okay, very good.
We can hear your voice, though. We can hear
Okay.
your voice.
You can hear
As
me.
you talk about, Madam Commissioner, what's going on in terms of elections in your area and what you're involved in, and what's your message to folk about voting tomorrow?
Well, I think Hester said it pretty much all. But we have to make sure that we look at the local elections too. Of course, we're all very excited about the president, but we also have to make sure that we look at the commission races tomorrow, our local state representatives, and we talked about our judges as well. Our Supreme Court Justice Kyra Bolton. So it's making sure that we're just looking at not just the presidential election, but all the way down the ballot, and make sure you turn the ballot over and vote on the back of the ballot also. If you vote straight Democratic, you're not going to touch the judges. You're not going to touch the proposals. You have to do those individually. So just make sure that you vote the entire ballot and make our voices heard. I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm feeling good about it. I think we will have a new president called Kamala Harris, a black
Yes.
woman. I'm very excited about
Yes.
that. I'm
Like,
feeling good about Michigan delivering. I'm feeling good about Detroit delivering.
yeah, I
So
understand
it's a
Detroit
good
is
time.
already showing out in terms of the number of early voting that we've had. The number is astounding from what I understand. Have you heard what that number is?
It's 89,000 absentee ballots have been returned, and I want to say 40,000 people have voted in person.
So over
It's
100,000 already.
already,
That's
yes.
incredible. That
I know. That's awesome. So
yeah.
I think we're going to, and it's supposed to actually be not raining tomorrow until later in the evening. So all day tomorrow is supposed to be nice outside,
Oh my God.
warm, partly sunny.
All
So
right.
make sure that you have no excuse to not to go outside and vote.
No excuse voting. None. No excuse. Now, there's some proposals on the ballot. Do we have any proposals that are countywide that need to be spoken to?
Outside of Detroit, yes, because it's for the Wayne RISA, and they have a proposal for a slight millage. So I would say if you're outside of Detroit, vote yes on that millage as well for Wayne RISA. Vote yes on that. And of course, if you're in Detroit, vote yes on proposal S. So let's make sure that I think those are the only proposals that I am aware of outside of Detroit. So make
So
sure you
yes
vote
on
yes
that
on the
for
yes,
Detroit Public Schools.
yes.
Yes on RISA. And
Wayne RISA.
Wayne RISA, in case you don't know, Wayne RISA is the Wayne Regional Educational
Education.
Service.
Yes.
And it's an educational support service for Wayne County.
Out.
Out Wayne County, outside Detroit. So you need to make sure that you vote on those two proposals. They're both important to us. They're so important. We have judges. We have school board members. We have county commissioners. So don't forget, school board members are probably, to me, the most important thing on the ballot. I started as a school board member, and I've got to tell you, when you're making decisions about children, my children, your children, everybody's children, that's got to be the most important thing for all of us, to make the right kind of decisions for those children. And so you need to make sure that you're putting people in place that you believe will make those decisions for the children, the right decisions. And we've had Miss Monique Bryan on the show. Monique is a candidate for the school board. We've had Sherry Gay Janyogo on the show. She is a candidate for school board. If you don't vote for anybody else, vote for those two, okay? Make sure you vote for those two. And there are other candidates, but those two are two that you want to vote for, and particularly Kyra Harris Bolton for Supreme Court. You know what the U.S. Supreme Court has done based on somebody putting persons on the court that don't care anything about you. Don't do that here in Michigan. Put somebody on the Supreme Court, Kyra Harris Bolton, who cares about you. We are so happy to have had people in the area who care about children, who care about seniors, who care about everyone, and will make the right kind of decisions that will positively impact your life. And I want to just go back to one thing, and I want to say, vote. There's no excuse for you not to. You've got from 7 a.m. to 8 o'clock tomorrow to vote. You've got to go do it. And you will see a change. You will see a change. And as Hester Wheeler talked about the Kairos moment, I believe to my soul that this is that moment. Who would have ever thought that a Black female would be the first female president of the United States? Who would have thought that? We couldn't have made this up. We couldn't have figured this out on our own. So it had to be the God that we all love and respect and admire. So there it is. Time for us to go. But next time I talk to you, we're going to be talking about a new president. Go vote. I want to see some of you at the polls, because I'll be driving all over the city tomorrow looking for people at the polls. If I don't see you, I'm coming to get you, okay? Take care. Have a great week. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next Monday at 4 o'clock. Community Bell Show, WVTC Radio, stellar award-winning show. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm excited to remind you that Tuesday, November 5th is Election Day. And whether you vote by absentee ballot, at one of our early vote centers, or on Election Day, there are 3 easy ways to vote the partisan section of your ballot. 1, vote straight party ticket by filling in the oval next to the party of your choice. And that's it. 2, you can vote a split ticket by voting for the party of your choice and then selecting candidates in various offices from different political parties. Or 3, vote a mixed ticket by voting for candidates in different political parties across the ballot. Once you've completed the partisan section, make sure you vote the nonpartisan section of the ballot. And finally, if you vote by absentee, please return your ballot as soon as possible. Doing so helps us to process and report results in a timely manner. And remember to vote, because it's not only your right, it's the right thing to do.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.